Hi, this is On Imagination with the Healing Garden. So I've been reverse engineering a business model for the last 2 years that's not toxic. And it's been quite a journey. I've been studying business for 20 years in the field, where I get a job and I strategically work my way toward the owner. And then I interview the owner and I watch the omniscient point of view of how the business moves. And I have done this with every single type of business you can think of, except a restaurant. I will not go near those things. I did that when I was like 12, and it was for 3 days, and it was enough for me to go, I will never work in this industry. And I 3 days, and I went, got it, good, I'm done. I never want to go back to the restaurant industry. Definitely not my thing. But I did work selling restaurant supplies, so I got to see the other side of restaurant as well. But it allowed me to really break down the full scope of this is business. And it was 20 years of family business, mom and pop shops. And then I would go into businesses and I would find the owners and I would interview them as well. And we covered everything you can possibly think of. So it was an accumulation of all of my knowledge. And then in 2015, I started up my own business. And I had the holy grail of businesses where my idea was so awesome. I was selling it before I even had a brand. And I was scrambling to create a brand to sell what I had. Like that's how it was an adventure. And I thought I thought all businesses were that way, only to find out that I just had a perfect storm. And if you can get the perfect storm, you're fine. And that's what I was studying, was the science of the perfect storm. Because when I went to create another business, I actually created 5 companies for businesses. I realized that I couldn't do it. And I'm like, what the heck? So I wanted to know why I had this perfect storm and exactly where everything needed to be. So when I started to build the healing garden in 2022, it was not at all the same creature. And when I started to do more research on entrepreneurs and CEOs, I went the full gamut. What I got was literally the exact same cookie cutter response from all of them. The first thing they said was, you got to figure it out. The second thing they said was, just trust your gut. Now, I know enough math to go, well, that's just trial and error. That's what you guys are doing. You don't know what you're doing. You're trial and erroring, and you all have figured out the same thing, and you're all just copying each other. Now, having my psychology that I have, when I was looking at what they were doing, I have taken a vow of do no harm. And when you know what I know about psychology, you know exactly what causes harm and what does not. So they were telling me to do things, sales, and certain marketing tactics where I went, I know exactly what's that doing to a subconscious mind. I can't do that. And I would get into arguments with these people insisting, well, this is the way it's done. This is just the way it's done. That I heard a lot. And I'm like, no, you can't tell me that the only way to get money from people is by breaking their subconscious mind. So I heard everything from gentle sales to manipulative to pushing, and I saw all spectrums of it. And when you study the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th ethic, where you get into authority, equal footing, and power economics, you become even more aware of how authority works and how power affects the self. So I took a massive step back from that and reverse engineered all of it. I had the components of the business and I was delving deep into it. And the biggest thing with anything you're reverse engineering is trying to figure out the right order of operations and the catalyst. So I had the dream, there I was as the business owner, and the business owner is the catalyst. The dream, the vision, the purpose is the catalyst. Now, getting money seems to be the goal and the agenda of most business owners. And that actually is a big problem. That's not at all the agenda. It should not be. And if it is the agenda, that's going to completely create one type of chain reaction that's toxic. And this is really what it comes down to. is you have your starting point of your catalyst at point A, and the agenda sets the destination at point B. I'm going to go ahead and switch this over to Cartesian coordinate system for my own brain. So you have point of origin, which is A, which is the business owner. And then you have the destination, which is your y-axis, B, your point and where it is you're wanting to end up. And now you have to create this chain reaction to get you from point A to point B, point of origin to destination. And that's really all we are doing here. Now, where you want to go brings the question up of how do you want to get there? And this is a question that a lot of people don't ask themselves. How do you want to get there? Most people just say, I want A, I want B, and they just push through. But when you are ethical, when you have the ethics, it's in a conscious awareness of, I want to do it ethically. And this is the key component that is missing from the majority of our lives. Now, if you are ethically good on an intuitive level, you're just going to do it intuitively, ethically. And you're not going to be aware of it because you're intuitively doing it. So you're going to reach a point where you're going to have an ethical conundrum. And when you reach that ethical conundrum, you're going to have to make an ethical choice. Now, this is where every single one of us has run into this, where we are told we have to do something unethically, and we've got to do that. Do I sacrifice my moral code for money? And it's literally the moral dilemma that we all run against. And if you are consciously aware of it, you are steadfast. A lot of people just choose to be poor because of this problem. And it's a common belief that you cannot be ethical and rich. I don't believe that at all. Quite the opposite. Quite the opposite. I believe you can be very wealthy. I can believe you can be very ethical. And I believe it's just going to take work to figure out how. It also means that this used business model is obsolete. It means that we're going to have to find a new business model. Now, this business model is literally composed of a hodgepodge of trial and error and copycat. And those are the two big things that I noticed. It was a hodgepodge of trial and error and copycat. And I noticed that, well, 99% of everybody in the business had no conscious awareness of what the psychological ramifications were of a lot of the practices they're doing. The 1% that knew were the psychologists who were teaching other people how to psychologically manipulate, which is disgusting. So I wanted to find a way to do this ethically while also preserving a subconscious mind. I wanted to go above and beyond it. I didn't just want to preserve a subconscious mind. I wanted to nurture it. So my agenda was not only ethical, but I wanted them to have such an experience that whatever mental illness they were having was actually nurturing their mental health. I wanted to cure them and give them such an experience that it would influence them to actually heal. So I was looking at, is there a way that we could incorporate this right into the business model ethically so that it not only preserved them, but it also nurtured them and cured them, healed them? Yes, in point of fact, there is, and I found it and I did it. And that's what we're breaking down now. So I wanted, this is where it got really difficult because the business model, and that's when I started to put it together, and people were like, funnels. And I'm like, funnels is like step 47, literally. A funnel is step 47 in the business process. 47. I have met people who are at step 2 trying to do funnels. This is common. This is because in the unethical business model, the goal is to manipulate and break the people to get their money from them. So you have some very good ethical people trying to put this together. And this is extraordinary. This is where psychology really just astounds me. If you are inherently a good person and you are ethical, you're not going to be okay with this. So a lot of people would just shut down. And then these assholes would come in and be like, oh, you've got a money problem. No, they don't. They have an ethical problem. If you think you have a money problem, you really have an ethical problem. It's called, I'm a good person and I can't be an asshole. But the assholes will tell them, oh, you've got a money problem. You need to work on that. No, they don't have a money problem. What you're doing is unethical, and you're teaching them how to be unethical. And because they are ethical, they can't do it. So they shut down. They immediately just pull away and they say, I can't do it. And they did it to me. But I know psychology. So when they threw that shit at me, I went, I don't have a money problem. You're gaslighting me. I don't have a money problem. I don't have a money problem. And they kept pushing it at me and throwing it at me. It was literally a year and a half of arguing with them about it, getting away from it, finding somebody else. And then they, oh, you got a money. No, I don't. When I realized that I had an ethical problem because what they were doing was psychologically damaging to people, and I knew it. So my subconscious mind, for ethical preservation, decided to shut down my mind to keep me from causing harm to myself and others, so I couldn't go forward. And it was their way of saying, the subconscious mind's way of saying, you can't go this path because it's unethical and will hurt people. Okay, so I got to find the path that's not going to hurt people. And that's exactly what I set out to do, is I set out to find the ethical path. Now, when you find the ethical path, you fly. You got it. You're set. So this is where this is the big gamut that comes down. The business does not exist. The business does not exist. It does not at all exist. The business is a concept, whether it be brick and mortar or not. It is a tool. The business is just a tool. The business is a reception area, just a reception area. What the business really is a network. Now, in narcissism, the very first thing narcissists do is divide and conquer. That is the formula. Narcissist person A divides and conquers B with C. It is disintegration of community. That is what narcissism is. It is the disintegration of community. So if you have narcissism and you start your business, you are going to disintegrate the community. Guess what? A network is a community. So 100% of all narcissists disintegrate the network and the community. They do this through divide and conquer tactics of making sure the people do not interact with each other or communicate with each other. In addition to that, they make the people 100% dependent upon the core source, the queen bee, which is the narcissist. And it breaks down the need for any one person to rely on their neighbor. You don't need your neighbor. You have the narcissist. Throw away the neighbor. I was watching Anne with an E, and there was a house fire, and it was extraordinary. I'm sitting here watching it going, wow, house fire. They get up in the middle of the night and they grab all their buckets. Now I know about the fire brigade, but to see it, and they just all went. They all got there and they all worked together to put water on the fire. The fire truck, the water truck arrives. By then, the fire is put out. They then sit there and the entire village organizes who's going to take care of these people while the village builds the house. So all of the neighborhood builds the house while they divide the family and separate them to make sure everyone's got a bed. So one of the girls goes home with somebody, the mother with the baby goes to a different house. It takes about a week. And then the house is restored. They all chip in, so they restore and replace all of the possessions in the house that got lost. Everyone contributes just a little bit. And after a week, they all go back to living in this house and it's all done. And I went, that is so not what we do in our culture. Oh no, that's not what we do. Nope, you are dependent upon the narcissist, the government. And looking at a business model, that's exactly what's been done. Is you have the business owner, the narcissist, divide and conquer, which is why you're not supposed to talk to your coworkers. That's why you're not supposed to talk to your coworkers. Narcissists. So now you're in a business you're literally working for a narcissist. No one's allowed to talk to anybody because divide and conquer. And now you only have a relationship with you and your manager. And that's it. And no one's talking to anybody else. Sound familiar? And now you have a business owner who has a horrible communication system inside of his network, and there's screaming going on. The left hand isn't talking to the right hand. Now, why do you think that is? Because they're narcissists. Divide and conquer. Narcissism is not an individual's disease. It is a community disease. 100%. It is a community disease. It is a virus that hits a community, not a person. A narcissist alone is fine. It's when you put the narcissist together with somebody that it becomes a problem every time. A narcissist can live quite peacefully alone. So when I recognized this in the toxic business pattern model, I recognized it about a year ago. So I knew immediately what I was dealing with. I'm like, all right, so the narcissist has taken, it's the narcissist business model of no network, divide and conquer. We can't have any communication. Now they've got a problem. They've got to figure out how to make money without a community. Well, there's two ways you can do that. Sales and marketing. So now you've got a lot of really horrible people running their businesses off of this really toxic model. And they're using people as a manipulative purpose to get their money, which is their agenda, point B, just get money. And they use sales and marketing to bypass that. So when I sat down with my business model, and I went, well, I don't have narcissism here, so that's not a problem. And then I looked at it and went, okay, so can I run this business on my own? Yeah, I can. Everything's automated. And I'm like, well, I'm at a point where I need to bring people in, and I want to, so I'm bringing people in. And narcissists would see my business model and they're like, oh, I want a piece of that. And it'd be like, they'd try and negotiate. I'd throw them out like, no, you're not getting a piece of the business. You're here to nurture the business. I'm here to nurture your business, but you're not here to take my business. So that took me a long time to figure out the right ratio and boundaries and all that. And while I was doing it, I was also doing a lot of studying on the narcissist here. So I was able to take that information and put it into a course. And I got all that put together. And now we are looking at, okay, what is this key piece missing? Sales and marketing are absolutely out of the question. Advertising is fine. Advertising is just, hey, just FYI, this is what's going on. But that was the other thing, is the business model that narcissists use shy away from advertising. They don't use advertising until they've built up their marketing and their sales. Advertising comes later. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. And the reason why is because in order for advertising to work, you need a network. You need a network for advertising to work. So that's what I noticed, is they kept telling me marketing, and I'm like, psychology, this is so manipulative. In fact, if you have a good product, you don't need marketing. Why is there push on marketing? And that's all they talk about is marketing. I went to so many courses and all they wanted to talk about was marketing. So I decided to just throw marketing out completely, because I had two other really successful business owners telling me, successful ethical business owners telling me the same thing. If you're using marketing, you have a shit product. If you are using marketing, your product is shit. And I'm going, so what is going on then? I throw out the marketing, I throw out the sales. So I changed the word sales to strategic solutions. Strategic solutions. Copyright, that's mine. I'm trademarking it. It's absolutely my business model, and it's the name of my business in the background. Strategic solutions, like copyright. So strategic solutions is what I use instead of sales. And that puts that RAS, the reticular articulating system, and it shifts it right onto the consumer, the patron. I like to call them patrons, because patron means a whole lot more positive happiness than any other word out there. So I changed the word. This is how you do mental health. You just change the word. So strategic solution, sales became strategic solution. Client, consumer, lead became a patron. And that left me with marketing. I threw marketing out completely, and it's now advertising. And I went, all right, so I've got strategic solutions, I have patrons, and I have advertising. This is phenomenal. I'm loving this. And I'm looking at everything. I'm building up. This is the other thing is our entire economy runs on consumerism. I'm going to give you new words today. It's called a resource generator. Resource generators are people who produce more resources with their brains than they consume. It's the way a human being is supposed to be. In power economics, this is all we talk about, is a resource generator. An economy collapses when you have more consumers than resource generators. That's it. All of us are trained to be consumers. None of us are being trained to be resource generators. So that's what my business does, is I take a consumer and turn them into a resource generator. That's what I do. So I'm looking now at this whole thing going, all right, so where do the sales come from? And of course, it comes from people. So I get the whole thing set up, it's done. And I'm like, all right, I just got to fill it with people. So I'm not talking to people. I'm going over all these methods. And I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. I'm stuck. Over the last 3 days, I landed myself with the right people, finally. It opened up all the doors. They brought in 5 more people, opened up those doors. I found 10 people in the back, opened up those doors. I have literally 10 open doors, and every one of those doors contains one leader with a group of 5,000 people plus. One group has 500,000 in their network. And I went, oh, I understand. I was in the wrong tier. So tiers. So when you go into business building, one of the questions you have to ask yourself that no one ever asks you to ask yourself is, what tier do you want to work in? 99% of all businesses target the patron tier. I do not do that. Patron tiers is where you are dealing with, working with the patron right on foundational level. And then you have the business people who cater to the patrons. And it took me a very long time to realize, oh, I sell business to business. But there's business to business, and then there's business to business. So what I do is I sell to the coach of the coach of the coach of the business of the patron. That's what I do. I'm like 4 tiers up. And once I realized that I'm 4 tiers up, immediately I started to find 4-tier people. So every person who I find has a network, who has a network, who has a network. So now when I start giving them what I've got, it trickles all down. And I'm like, now that's what we're talking about. So you have to figure out what tier you are in. The other thing, and this is like me throwing out all of my really good juice, is, let me go here back to my notes. The question, what would you like to be good at? What would you like to be good at? That is a segue into another video I'm going to do. What would you like to be good at? And we're going to talk about power economics in that. And that really completely changes the way you think about, what do you want to be when you grow up? No, what do you want to be good at? What would you like to be good at? That's the question that's going to sit in your brain today. And we're going to break that down with power economics. And we're going to really dive into that. So when all of this got done, I started to put this massive, it felt like a blanket that I just wrapped around my business. And suddenly I'm spending all my time with the blanket, with my network. And I suddenly saw all of it. It is so new a concept that I'm still unbreaking the old one, and I'm putting this one in place, and I'm still going, oh. So a business model, first of all, there's no business. There's no business. There is no business. The business doesn't exist, which is why businesses fail, is because there is no business. Somebody said to me yesterday, it's actually an asset. And that's true, it's an asset. So you have an asset. But even then, it's like, it's a tool. It's like that thing over there that you use it. And the business owner just focus, business, and they ignore the network. The whole language has got to change our RAS to see this big picture. So I'm going to have to invent it. Let's do it now. You are not creating a business, you're creating a network. You are building your network. Now, your network, and it's very much you. There is you. And you going, I want my own network. What is the purpose? What is your people purpose? We're going to call it a people purpose. What is your people purpose? This is, and this is where there's two questions here. The first question is, what is your purpose? And that's like, how do you want to help people? But then there's the cause. What is the cause that you care about? Now I'm going to go ahead and use myself here because I have existing examples, so I don't have to do fiction. So how I help people is I provide them with literally every societal resource that they are missing from our culture. But what is my cause? Societal nourishment. That is actually what I do, is societal nourishment. I love nourishing society. So my cause is societal nourishment. I am a societal solutionist. How do I do this? By providing people with all the resources that the society is not giving them, which is why I invent academic disciplines to plug this all in. So now you've got the people. That's your people purpose. So now you want to ask the question, what would you like to be good at? What you would like to be good at is going to determine where exactly you're going to plug the cell into. Once you have that with the power economics model to plug this in, because you're going to get a business model from that, and that's going to get plugged into it. Now you have a circuit, and that's what you are doing, is you are building a circuit. You're building your circuit around the societal nourishment, your cause, and how you do and accomplish your cause, how you help people, while you are also focusing on your people purpose. This is also why you are doing strategic solutions and you are working with patrons. So what you're really building is a circuit. That's all. You're building a circuit. So in order to understand circuitry, well, you got to know power economics because you're going to fuel your circuit. So when you go into this is Mother Nature's business model, Mother Nature's circuit model. You're going to plug in this circuit and you're going to focus on building the circuit. Now, I remember doing this when I was, and it's amazing because this is exactly how it is for an author. The authors have it all figured out. It's weird. They are so anti-business that they just do it and then it just clicks into place, where they will build their network while they are writing their book. Did you hear what I just said? While they are writing their book, they will build their network. So while you are building your business, you should be networking. You should be building your network on day one. And this is where narcissists never build their network, not even after they're successful and they have no network. Your network needs to be started on day one. You have an idea, boom, build a network. Build a network. And your focus is to provide that network to the people. So then you build your network, you have your idea, and you start nurturing your network. And then you start slowly building this massive network around, or this business, this circuit, well, this business around the network, around the circuit. So that when you open door on day one, people are there. This is what I did with my first business. This is why I got lucky. And I had no idea. It's because I built the people first. All I did was focus on people. I wasn't building a business because I was a writer. So I was just like building the thing. And then when I had my book, when I had an idea, I had people going, oh my God, yes, I want to buy that. Oh, and this is how it's done. This is the perfect storm. You need to build the circuit first. You need to build the network first. And every day that you put and build this thing together, you need to start bringing it together. So really, you need the philosophy first. You need the theory first. And that's it. You need your theory and your philosophy first. And that's going to bring in the people. So as you are talking your philosophy, your theory, your cause, your purpose, you're nurturing that network while you're building the business. And then when you are finally ready to open, it's got a substantial following. I had 10,000 people when I started my first book, like when I was done with it. So I opened the doors and I'm like, all right, here's my book. Boom. Oh. And that's how it's done. That's how it's done. After I got to this point, and I started to see, oh, you have to put the network first. Putting the cart before the horse is a huge problem with narcissists. That is like the narcissist MO, is putting the cart before the horse. You have to put the horse before the cart. That doesn't make any sense, does it? I've been thinking about the logic of this. Put the cart before the horse. Carts don't go before horses. You have to put the horse before the cart, after the cart, because horses pull the cart. It's a very illogical statement, isn't it? Their order of operations is fucked up. That's what I'm trying to say. Their order of operations is fucked up. And as a result, it's not. And the thing is, the network is the circuit. It is the power that's going to propel momentum. I'm going to say that again. The circuit is the power. The circuit is the power. And when you have narcissists, they are threatened by power. So they can't have one. So they had to figure out a way to cheat people and break their brains in order to, brain breaking, in order to have any kind of productivity, because they would not hook up to a circuit. So the narcissistic model doesn't have a circuit. It breaks brains instead. The Mother Nature's business model uses that circuit to nourish the circuit. That's the difference. That's why when you go to a job and you're like, wow, these people are treating me like shit and I need to get another job. You go into another job. Wow, these people are assholes and they're treating me like shit. And then you're hopping, and then you finally say, I'm just going to go get my own job. And then you follow their exact business model. And this is why. This is exactly why. Is because they cut out the circuit. So now in order to make money, you have to break people's brains by manipulating them with psychology. So you have that network, you have the circuit, you nurture that, and then you build the business in the middle of that circuit. So that's going to shed a lot of, I mean, I'm already talking about networks. I'm already spending a lot of time focusing on networks. But now I'm really going to be spending a lot of time on networks. Like, it's all we're going to be talking about now is networking and circuitry. So we're going to really dive deep into all of it. We're going to pull it apart. This is something else that I've noticed. This is something that blows my mind away. So I'm going to say this. I know somebody who has a master's degree in economics from Harvard, and they are impoverished. And I know somebody who has studied economics, and they said to me, what does economics have to do with making money? And I don't know if that is the way people are, or if that's just the way I know people to be. But I'm just going to tell you what I picked up from power economics. If you want to make money, you need to study power economics. I don't know what everybody else is doing, but on the other hand, everybody else is usually poor, so nobody else knows, so ergo, you need power economics. Now there's finance, which is different, and I haven't reverse engineered that yet, and I know it's very related to power economics. It's all the same subject, but power economics is human people. It's actually a sub-branch of Pythagorean psychology. So I'm looking at the whole thing going, this is the insanity of society where I'm just going, what are you guys doing? And I'm going to say again, I don't know if I hear what she said. And I'm still going, how can you not know that economics is learn how to make money? So like, it's literally the science of how money moves in a society, how resources move in a society. You know how society moves with resources, and you know how to make money. But the majority of people who take economics and leaves the study are poor. So I don't know what's going on over there. There's definitely a screw loose. When I studied economics, like I have power economics, and then I studied their economics, I went, okay, I know psychology, and this is just scarcity mindset. What you guys are studying is not economics, it's scarcity mindset, which explains why everyone's poor after reading it. I don't understand the human race. I just don't understand the human race. So you need power economics, which is what we're going to cover. We're going to delve into the science of networking, and we're going to teach you everything you need to know about power economics. Now, this is the 6th, the 7th, the 8th, the 9th ethic. This is exactly what you get from those ethics. So stay with us. It's going to be really amazing. Pando is our network. Go take a look at it. It's fucking amazing. We have free mental health care. We have free education. We have entertainment, and we have our commerce and our forum and market with our economy. So we are in the process of getting together. Oh, we also have spiritual nourishment. I'm so excited about that. We also have spiritual nourishment. We are in the process of putting together free medical, free medicinal. That is definitely like our, give me 5 years. Give me 5 years and I will be getting you free medical and free medicinal. That is my agenda. But we do have the other ones where you get free mental health and free education. We also have, I'm talking to nutritionists. We're bringing them on board. We have a lot of beautiful moving parts. We have a lot of people. If you have your own idea, if you have your own business and you're going, oh my God, I got something, let us know. Come on in. Come to Pando. We'll hook you up. We'll get you set up. Everything here requires an ethical stamp. This is for ethical businesses only, because we guarantee, we make sure that people in our community are safe. So we have the 12 ethics. That is literally our only requirement, is if you are not looking to pursue them, if you are not working on them, doors are closed to you. That's the only requirement. The 12 ethics, well, take a look at them and then you decide. People are very like, oh, you're going to look at them first. And then people look at them and they go, wait, I already do all these. Yes, they are in us. They are Mother Nature. We're just making people conscious of them. And those are our laws. With the 12 ethics, you don't need a government and you don't need law enforcement because you got the 12 ethics. It's extraordinary. So welcome to Pando. Come on in. Thank you so much. And may the kindest of words always find you.